Do I need to clarify that there are spoilers? Because there are a lot of spoilers. Just in case, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Hi, welcome back. If you're new here, a very warm welcome. My name is Trish, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the guys that everyone loves to hate. Anime villains. So I feel like it kind of goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I haven't obviously seen all of the anime, so I had to narrow it down to what I have seen, which is kind of a lot. And then from that, the villains that stuck out, the ones that made me stop and really think, what the heck is, what? Let's start with a definition of a villain. So what is a villain? What makes a good villain? Well, the textbook definition of a villain is it's a plot device that serves as the main opposition to our hero. So basically, the worse your villain, the better your hero's gonna look, or the stronger your hero's gonna look. So if we go back to Literature 101, we know that our hero is defined by their acts of goodness and bravery, their pursuit of justice. In contrast to that, our villain is defined by their dastardly deeds, their evil acts, or sometimes just their stupidity. So if you watched my video about life-changing anime, you know that I am a fan of Evangelion. You probably already know this is coming, but I'm just gonna kick things off with the one that you could maybe argue around is not actually a villain, but he really is. So let's talk about Gendo Ikari. Who is Gendo Ikari? Well, that's Shinji's dad, and Shinji is the protagonist of Evangelion. So why is Mr. Gendo Ikari a villain? According to Paste magazine, Gendo Ikari of sound mind and clear conscience was actively complicit in the premature instigation of the biblical apocalypse. That doesn't sound like a hero, does it? Resulting in a near extinction level event that caused the death of nearly 2/3 of the human population. Furthermore, this prompted the reawakening and advent of the angels. On top of that,
he also emotionally neglected his son, estranging himself from him for over 12 years, only to offer him up as a sacrificial pawn in his bid to artificially bootstrap humanity's ascent into evolutionary godhood,
so that he could be reunited with his dead wife. Aw, but Trish, he loves his wife. Speaking of him loving his wife, that's actually also kind of messed up because he clones her soul into the adolescent body of Ayanami, makes several copies, keeps them in a tank, and takes them out to use them in his human instrumentality project where he throws the 14-year-old children into the Evangelion to kickstart the apocalypse, somewhere along those lines. So, he doesn't have very many redeeming qualities, this guy. So in the case of Gendo Ikari, we learned that love can be toxic. Love can drive us to kill 2/3 of the human population and bring about the biblical apocalypse. So let's shift anime and show some love to one of Dragon Ball's big bads, Frieza. So what makes Frieza a good villain? Well, he destroyed an entire planet a la the Death Star and Alderaan. Okay, cool, Trish. Who or what is a Frieza? Well, Frieza is the second son of King Cold, the younger brother of Cooler, and a descendant of Chilled. So there's definitely a naming theme going on here. And according to DragonBallFandom.com, Frieza is the main antagonist of the entire franchise, it's really long, as his actions led to multiple conflicts and is even considered to be Goku's greatest foe and arch nemesis. Frieza is involved in basically like the origin story of Goku and Vegeta because he blew up their freaking planet. Frieza also has several different transformations, so basically he just gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So as if blowing up a planet didn't make him strong enough, he has like 4 different transformations to become like the perfect Frieza or the perfect version of himself. Actually, you know what? Most villains, most characters in the Dragon Ball universe have kind of the same ability. If you've ever seen anything about Dragon Ball Z, or if you've ever heard anything about the Dragon Ball series, you've probably seen character art of Frieza as well because, like I said, he's like the series' big bad. So why is he so bad? Well, like I said, he blew up a planet, but like, he's just evil. He's mean just for the sake of being mean. Which, that makes for a good villain. Next up, we're going to talk about arguably the cutest villain on our entire list here, and that would be Kyubey from the Madoka series. Basically, Kyubey is small, tiny, kind of looks like a cat. It's got little pink tips on its ears, and it's really cute. Essentially, it grants wishes in exchange for souls.
Whose souls?
Adolescent girls, of course. So Kyubey sounds human, it talks like a human, but it's incapable of understanding human emotion, and essentially it sees itself as above humans. To grant a wish, Kyubey takes the girl's soul, puts it in a gem, and if anything happens to this gem, if it's lost or if it's destroyed, then the girl basically dies. The essential fate of all magical girls is that they become witches, which fight the magical girls. So it's like this sick cycle of never-ending magical girl versus witches and all of the souls and the deals and the wishes, and it's horrible. It's like a fluffier version of Ursula from The Little Mermaid, only Ursula was more upfront and honest about it. She straight told Ariel, I can help you, all I need is your voice. Kyubey doesn't tell these girls, I'll grant your wish, but you're probably gonna die. The Kyubey species as a whole is looking for a source of renewable energy. They find this renewable energy in the emotions of humans. Since the Kyubey race is incapable of producing emotions, it needs to find some other power source. Thus, the exploitation of humans. Honestly, who is more emotional than a teenage girl? So I guess that was pretty smart on the Kyubey's part. Wait, it kind of sounds like the Matrix? No? Yeah, a little bit. Eventually, this process will culminate in the death of the human race itself, and the Kyubey species will have to move on to find another species that can produce emotions to produce energy. Yeah, that's pretty messed up. That makes Kyubey a villain. A cute one, but that makes Kyubey a villain. So I guess to me, what makes Kyubey one of the scariest on this list is that it literally doesn't understand why it's wrong to harvest humans like a battery, which, back to the Matrix parallel again, the robots didn't understand or care either. Next up, we're gonna hop over to FGO Babylonia, and we're gonna talk about a literal goddess, Tiamat. She's a very bad waifu. I mean, she basically just wants to eradicate the entire human race because in her mind, she needs to kill or be killed, so. She doesn't say anything until the very end, like all she does is have this cute little but it's freaking terrifying. She's slowly coming across the water, slowly, just no emotion, nothing's moving, just the sound and the slow giant figure of her horned body drifting towards Babylonia. Ironically, the voice actress for Tiamat is also the same Japanese voice actress who gives her voice to Madoka. We just talked about Kyubey from the Madoka series. So what makes Tiamat a villain? Just, you know, the fact that she wants to eradicate the human race doesn't exactly make her a good guy, so I think that puts her on our villain list. She's kind of a pitiful figure though, because it says in mythology that she was cast aside after giving birth to the world. So she feels used and betrayed, which then in turn makes her desire to kill off the human race, because in her thinking,
all she wants is to kill off the humans, get back together with her kids, and live happily ever after, I suppose.
So essentially, because she gave birth to the world, she's seen as this goddess of life. So in order to defeat her, they have to trap her in the underworld. So they have to rip a hole through the earth and drag her down into the underworld. Her character design is also really amazing. It stands out. I mean, she's not really wearing much, really, at all. But I think it's the horns and the and the tiny feet. I don't know. I think she's really cute. Special runner-up for FGO, or really the Fate series in general, is my man Gilgamesh, because I don't want to classify him as a villain because I really love his character, and if you watch the FGO Babylon series, you know that he's not really a villain. I mean, I don't know. He shows up on villain rankings, but there literally cannot be a list of villains without talking about Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Dio Brando is like the definition of just... Actually, I started watching the JoJo series and I almost stopped because I started on season 1, and that's back in the day when everyone's still a human and they don't have stands yet, they're using Harmon energy. And Dio is such a jerk that I was like, I can't watch this. This is really bad. So my husband says, yeah, you gotta watch it from season 3. Once you have like the basic idea of the plot and the characters, then go back and watch season 1. And I mean, he's still gonna be an absolute but it's not going to be as bad, and it'll kind of give you a backstory. So my suggestion is, if you haven't watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure yet, start with season 3, which I believe is Stardust Crusaders, then go back and watch seasons 1 and 2. So why is Dio such a good villain?
Well,
I mean, he's an amazing trash talker. He has the most creative, colorful language. You know, a lot of villains in the JoJo series do, but Dio, man, he is like a class A, S rank trash talker. He is the most arrogant. His actions, his words, his mannerisms, everything about him makes you absolutely just love to hate him. I mean, he starts out in season 1 as like, he's kind of a brat, right? I mean, his childhood life is kind of sad. His father's an alcoholic. His mother died when he was young. He had a hard life growing up. That shaped him to like have a ginormous chip on his shoulder, right? So basically, he's just a bully in the first season. Like, he reminds me of like the brat on the playground that would push another kid down and just be like, haha, I did that because I could. And that's basically what he does to Jonathan Joestar through the entire first season of JoJo. His list of offenses in the first season goes on to include, he forcefully kisses the girl that Jonathan Joestar is in love with, killed Jonathan Joestar's dad, bullies him, he turns all Jonathan's friends against him, he becomes a vampire? He does end up killing Jonathan Joestar in the very end. And you gotta give Dio creativity points here, because his hatred for the Joestar family, try to follow me here. So basically, at the end of the first season, everybody's on a boat, it's starting to sink. Jonathan fatally injures Dio, and Dio fatally injures Jonathan. So they're both gonna die, and it's gonna be this nice heroic ending, only Dio's a vampire, so only his head survives. Jonathan, however, is not so fortunate. So what does that douche Dio do? Oh, you know, he just attaches his own head to Jonathan Joestar's body. Let's see, what else does he do? He kills off a lot of characters, basically goes around being the douchiest douche to ever douche. I mean, he's a bad guy. There's no beating around that bush. He is a bad guy. But he's still like one of my favorite bad guys ever, literally. He's so bad that it's freaking hysterical. Like, he's such a jerk that it's just overly funny, if that makes sense. He also starts to incorporate a lot of hearts into his fashion in the third season. I'm not sure if they're being ironic or not. So obviously this list is just the tippy tip of the iceberg that are villains of anime. So what do you think? Is there anybody I left out? Leave a comment below and let me know. I tend to gravitate towards the villains of a series. I don't know what that says about me personally, but my favorite characters kind of tend to be the bad guys. If you're interested in continuing to nerd out with me here on this channel, don't forget to smash that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can know when I post another nerding out video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Y'all have a good week.